Hi, good morning everybody. Welcome to our Canva Workshop. I am Jonathan Pouliot from Gateway Healing, so let me give you a little bit of an introduction to who I am. So I am the CEO of Gateway Healing, which sounds really fancy when you're a one-man shop, but you know, it's a way to introduce yourself. I am a guide, healer, and teacher in the lineage of King Solomon, certified by the Modern Mystery School. I also have 15 years of corporate training experience in live training, virtual training, and instructional design. And I also have 5 years experience where I was managing social media for my friend's business, Logan Light Center, down in Sarasota, which is how I got into using Canva. So what makes me an expert in Canva to be standing here talking to you? I am not. So I dabbled, played, tried, failed, cried a little, and learned a lot over the years. And I'm still trying, still learning, and I'm here to help you learn from my mistakes. This particular session was actually born out of a Coffee Connections where we were talking about something, and somebody was talking about the pains of having to post to all these different places. And I was like, well, yeah, you can just use Canva and their content planner. You can schedule your same post to all these different things all at the same time. And like 10 people were like, what? What are you talking about? And I was like, oh, maybe we need to do this because there are some things that I've learned over the years that could potentially help you in making Canva easier to use. So the things that we're going to be talking about today, we're going to start off with talking about how to build your brand kit or brand kits, and how that can be really helpful, especially if you're using Canva for multiple businesses, but it can also be very helpful if you're just focusing on one business. We're also going to talk about basic image editing, including background remover, which is really helpful. We're also going to talk about using layers in your design. And finally, we're going to talk about that content planner and how to maximize the use of it. So with that,
let's do this.
Exciting. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my home screen here, and the first thing we're going to talk about, like I said, are those brand kits. So from your home screen, over here on the left, one of these options here is brand. Now I already have brands that are set up, so I want to show you what the setup looks like, and then I'll show you how to create a new one. So currently I have the brand kit for my friend's business that I was part of for several years, Logan Light Center. And so within the brand kit, you're able to import things like different logos or graphics. You're able to set up your brand colors. You're able to set up the fonts that you use specifically for your branding. You can even set up a brand voice so that Canva understands the tone of your business, kind of the angle that you take things from in your posting and things along those lines. You can also add additional photos, graphics, icons, and charts. Coming up here to the drop down, my business is Gateway Healing. So I have my logos in for this. I have my colors. I have my fonts. So just by changing a drop down, I have access to all of the branding for my business. And then I can change it to all of the branding of my friend's business that I was also doing social media for him as well. And I still every now and then jump in to help him out, which is why I still have access to it. Now, to set up a new brand kit, in the drop down, create new brand kit is an option here. So we just have to start off by giving it a name. And then you essentially have the exact same layout that we saw when I was looking at my brand kit. So you can come down to your logos and just start uploading whatever logos that you have, your PNGs, your JPEGs. I also throw in my QR codes in here so that they're all in one place, but you could also put those in photos and graphics, whatever the case may be. You can also set up your colors, and you'll notice that you have the ability to use this kind of slide bar. You can use the slide bar at the bottom. You can hex code. You can also pick a color from an existing photo. So there's lots of different ways that you can do that. You can also do the CYMK version. So however you have your colors, you have the ability to input those. And you can input as many colors as you need. So if you have 3 brand colors, put in 3. If you have 10, put in 10. And we'll see later on when we get into like our image editing and things along those lines, how that comes in really great handy. Your fonts are also another thing that is really handy as a shortcut to have available in your brand kit. So you can enter in the font that you use for titles, the font that you use for subtitles. Now, your exact font may not appear in Canva because there are some fonts that are specific to Microsoft Word or Google or different things. But generally, there is a font that's going to be very, very close. And usually, if you're not sure what that is, a simple Google or ChatGPT search will tell you this font in Word is closest to this font in Canva. So it's a pretty simple thing to find out. You could have all of your different fonts be the same font if there's really only one font that you use, but it's still really helpful to put it here so that Canva will put things in the correct size, bolding, etc. And then you can continue on with entering in things like your brand voice, your photos, your graphics. And then once you have all that set up, all of that is going to be readily available to you much faster than having to import it from your desktop or search it in all of the different things that you've uploaded. So we'll get to see how this is helpful when we get into our image editing in just a moment. If you happen to put a brand kit together and let's say you decide you're not using this business anymore and you're going to switch over and do a whole new thing, you do have the ability to delete a brand kit by going up here to these 3 ellipses. You can edit the details like the name, you can duplicate to make minor changes, but you also have the ability to delete that. You have to tell them that you understand that it will not come back if you do that, and then you can delete the brand kit. Yes, ma'am?
I just wanted to add, I think I observed before that if you upload your logo, it'll try to extract the colors. Am I right on that?
I have not experienced that, but I can't say no, because Canva is continually adding things. So there are times when I have done something a while ago and then they added new features, so I've not experienced them yet. So it is entirely possible that if your logo, which it should, contains your brand colors, then it may very well be like, hey, we think these are your brand colors, is that correct? So that way you can confirm them, or you can add additional ones that maybe don't appear in your logo, things like that.
Yeah,
So
it's done a weird thing where it does that, but I have a hard time anchoring it down. But it's super helpful that it did. Maybe
Yeah.
it fixed it, so.
all right.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks for that. So I'm going to delete that brand kit because I don't actually want it. Okay, any questions about brand kit in that quick overview? Okay, pretty cool. So let's go to image editing. So let's say that I want to create an Instagram post. So we can see here all the different categories of things that we can create: presentations, different social media, videos, print, etc. So I'm going to go to my social media here, and I am going to select that I want to make a 4:5 ratio Instagram post. But you can see at the top that if I was creating for LinkedIn, then I can filter to LinkedIn style posts, Pinterest, TikTok, X, whatever the case may be. I'm going to go to that Instagram post there. And I'm going to rename this so that it's easier for me to find. Now, Canva has a tendency, once you have entered some text, that whatever the first text box that you type in, it's going to automatically name your graphic to whatever that text is. Sometimes that's fine, but if you want to be able to find this later, call it something that you're going to remember to type into the search later on. If you don't want it to be the exact text that you put in to your design. So call this Life Activation Benefits here. And when I open, there we go. So you have an option to start with a template. So there are lots of templates that are available by scrolling down, so you can see some of the different things. You also have the ability to type in a description of what you are looking for, and Canva will search the templates for what already works. And then you have the ability to add these templates and then adjust colors, adjust text, add in additional text fields, graphics, whatever the case may be. So if you find a template that is close to what you want, but you just need to make some modifications, that's a really quick way to get your project up and going and done. You also have the ability to start from scratch, which is what we're going to do. So I want to go to my uploads, which are all of the different pictures and graphics and different things that I have imported to be able to use. And since I'm talking about the life activation session that I use, I want to be able to use the picture that I took of my life activation wand, which we saw in the picture at the beginning of the presentation. So I took this on my black couch. So I want the wand, but I don't want the couch. So I want to select the picture here, and we can see that up at the top, there's the option for BG Remover, which is background. And when I click BG Remover, Canva's gotten really good at discovering what the background is. And so it pretty much got rid of everything that is not what I wanted. So now I have the ability to put whatever I want behind this, and the wand will be there, but none of the background. Now, it doesn't always do that amazing of a job, depending on what it is that you are looking for. So, for instance, if I wanted to put in this meditation picture, but I didn't want the background, I can do the background remover there. It does a great job of pulling out the guy, but let's say that I still wanted the text to be there. I didn't want to have to retype it. For that, I would click on the edit, actually the background remover, sorry about that. And here I have the ability, if I go here, we can see my brush size. I can make that brush size bigger to take out more at a time, or I can make it much smaller to take out very tiny details. But not only can I remove some of the picture that's still there, I can restore some of the picture that was taken out. So by switching to the restore, I can come here and I can click and drag to cover what I want to bring back into my picture. And once I have that there, I can close that, and now the words are back. I would want to take more time to take out what's behind there, but just to show you what you can do, you can bring parts of the picture back, you can get rid of more of the picture, but for simple things like the wand, the guy sitting here, Canva actually does a really great job of pulling that background out and leaving you with only what you want. I actually had a really hard time finding a good example of when you would need to work more with the background remover, because it was doing such a good job of pulling out exactly what I would want it to do. So this was kind of the best one that I could find to use as an example here. I don't actually want that in my design, so I'm going to get rid of that. And let's come up to our elements. So uploads are the things that I have uploaded, pictures, and you can also, when you create something, you can download it and then re-upload as an image so that you can use it in other things. So for instance, this sanctuary meditation is something that I created in Canva, downloaded it, put it back in so that I can put it on flyers and different things along those lines. But then we also have the elements option, which are things that already exist within Canva that you have access to. Now, if you see the little crown icon next to something, that means that it's for Canva Pro. So if you are using a free version, that particular background, video, graphic, whatever it is not available to you without upgrading to Pro. Honestly, I don't know why you wouldn't invest in Pro for all the amazing things that you get, but just in case you're wondering why you can't use something, that little crown means that it's for Pro subscribers only. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to search for light. I want to find things that are light related. So I'm going to click See All in order to see all of the photos. And let's say that I want to use this picture here. So I want this to be my background. So I have the ability to rotate this picture, and notice it even tells me to what degree I've rotated, so I can find when I've hit exactly 90. There we go. And also, when you are moving things around, it will tell you when you've hit the center of your item. It will also tell you when you have centered it with another item that's on the display. So you can utilize these red lines in order to help you to center things properly, depending on how you want them to be. I'm going to expand this so that it takes up the whole background, but then I want that white part in the middle. So there, and yep, there we go. So now I have this nice starburst, sunburst kind of thing, but let's say that I don't particularly like these colors. This is not something that you can do for every single thing in Canva, but for items like this, you'll notice that when I clicked on it, there are these colors here at the top. Anytime you see that, you have the ability to adjust the colors of that image to be something different. So let's say that I wanted these to be more my brand colors. So I'm going to change this purple, and here's where that brand kit comes in handy, because I already have my Gateway Healing brand colors right here available, so I don't have to search for them. I don't have to remember or look up my hex codes. They're already here. And if I was doing this for Logan Light Center, I could simply click the drop down and change, and then I would have those brand colors available to me there. So I'm going to change the purple to my dark blue color here, and we can see the shift that happened. Then I can click on the pink because I want to change that to my brand gold. And then I'm going to click on this orangish salmony color. I'm going to change that to my brand green. So I wanted this starburst, but I want it to be more my brand. I wanted it to be a little bit on the cooler side rather than the warm side that it was before. And then I can close all of that and get rid of my filter. Excuse me. You can also, there's a lot of things you can do with images besides colors. Over here we have transparency. So you can actually make things more or less transparent so that they're not necessarily covering everything behind it, but it's more of an overlay and you can see through it. So that can be a really cool effect to use for things. You also have the ability to flip items. You can crop so that you're taking out certain parts of that. And yeah, that's kind of the basics there. So I have this starburst here, which is great, but I don't want it to be at the forefront of things. I want to be able to see things in front of it. So if I right click, one of the options down here is layers. I can't bring it forward or bring it to the front because it's already the most front thing on my page, but I can send it backward, or if I had multiple layers already, I could send it all the way to the back without having to go one layer at a time. So I'm going to send it to the back, and now I can see my wand in front of it. So now I can move my wand wherever I want, and now this is the background. You also have the option to set the image as the background. This is really helpful because let's say that I wanted to move a lot of items around. I only have the wand right now, but let's say I had text boxes and all this other stuff, but I wanted to move everything ever so slightly up. I can click and drag to select multiple items by making sure they're in this kind of purple box here. But because this background is an image as well, that's going to get caught up as well. But if I make it the background, it's no longer selectable. It is just the background and won't move. So I know that that is set in place. Now there are times, it didn't happen with this one because it's a good ratio. There are times when you set it to the background that it may adjust the picture up or down or left to right so that it's not centered how you want it to. But all you have to do is go to crop, and then you have the ability to move it up or down on the page, move it left or right in order to center it how you want, but it's still the background of your design. Okay? So let me find one more element that we want to add here. So let's say that I want to add this halo kind of effect here. Currently, it's in front of the wand. That's not what I want. So I'm going to go to my layers, and I'm going to send it backward. And now the wand is in front, that starburst is behind, and then we have our image. Let me pull this off of the background so you can detach the image from the background as well. I'm going to reset us here because we're going to take a look at where you can see all of your layers at one time. So if I go to my layer option, down at the bottom it says show layers. When I click that, I can see all of my different items, and they're in the order of front to back over here on the left-hand side. So this is a way that if I wanted to move this starburst, but let's say I couldn't really get to selecting it because of the things that were in front, I can click the starburst over here, and it automatically selects it here so that I can do things like lock it in place. I can duplicate it if I wanted a second starburst. I could remove that if I no longer wanted it to be part of the design. Or I also have the ability over here on the left-hand side where I can move it forward or move it back in my design as well. So you can use the layer drop-down, or you can show all of your layers on the left, move them up and down, edit them as necessary, which is really helpful. Like I said, sometimes you may end up with maybe a text box that's kind of buried under the outer edges of some of your other graphics or things. So instead of having to move the layers and then adjust the text and then move the layers back, you can just select it here, and that will give you the option of right-clicking to do things or adjusting using your things up here at the top, whatever the case may be. So you can actually do a lot of really cool things with that layering effect. So it's a really cool thing to play with, to be able to highlight different options. One of the things that I like to use in a lot of my designs, I just type in magic and I end up with like these little swirls. And so I can put them there. I can rotate them so that they're at a different angle. And then I can play with my layers so that they're more of an accent than taking up the front. And then also, if I go to my layers, if I don't want that particular item, that little magic swirl, to be quite so pronounced, I can also use my transparency to make it a little more muted so that it's there, but it's not as pronounced, but it's still drawing a little bit of attention to the design. So we've done a lot of image work, but now we also have our text option. So when I click text over here, I have the ability to just add a text box over here that's going to be very generic, that I can start typing and then start working with fonts and sizes and colors and different formats and things. But we used that brand kit, so I have my different fonts and styles and things already available to me. So I can start right away with a title. And then it's already in my font. It's already bolded because that's what I want for my titles. So then I have the ability to start working with things like the colors. I can start using effects. So I can use my neon and I can heighten that. When it comes to the text size, you can either use the plus and minus buttons. You can actually type a different number into the top to change the size. Or you can also, like a graphic, grab one of the corners and you can adjust the size this way. So if you're not exactly sure what size you want it to be and you don't want to have to click, 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 click to figure that out, put it where you want it, grab it and size it, and then you can make it whatever size you need it to be. Also, we have the red line to tell me it's centered there. One of the things that I like to do is to make my text box go all the way across from side to side, and then I set my justification or my alignment to center, and that will automatically put it in the center without me having to drag and wait for that red line. But you do have the ability to left justify, kind of spread, right justify, or center there as well. If you have multiple lines, let's just make this easy. if you have multiple lines of text, there's this advanced settings for your text where you can do things like adjust the line spacing. So if you look at the left side of the text, as I adjust this, they get further apart or closer to each other. So you can adjust how far away your lines are from each other. You can also adjust your letter spacing to make them spaced out further or closer. You can also anchor your text boxes, and there's a lot more things that you can play with there to make the text how you want it to be. I want to make sure I'm covering everything that I wanted to show you. Okay, so up here is our branding text. And if we scroll further down, we have these font combinations that Canva has provided for us. So there are some cool things in here that technically, yes, you could create on your own, but why go through the headache when Canva's already done it for you? Because with all of these, you have the ability to change what the text says, but you can also change the colors. You can even change some of the effects if part of it is what you like and part of it isn't. So for instance, if I came down here and chose this glamping, so this is already set to this neon effect with this kind of pink color, but I have the ability to type in my own text, and then when I highlight, I can still go in and I can change the color, I can change the font size, and if I wanted to, I could even change the font. So whatever you want to adjust about that, you can. And
where did you find that, Jonathan?
Sorry?
Where did you find that font combination?
It is under the text option, and then you just scroll down, and there's all these font combinations available to you here. So there's even, let me find a good one here. Where did it go? Oh, let's use this one. So we've got, let me get rid of this so that we're not too cluttered. We've got this fire away here. There are two different colors because they're actually two different text boxes. They're currently, oh, let me try that again. They're currently grouped, so I can ungroup them so that I can actually move them independently of each other. So that's something else that you can play with, is if you create things that you want to go together, you can group them when you select them both. Oh, there I am selecting a whole bunch of things that I don't want to do. Let me move these down. There we go, so I can group those so now they move together so that if I want to move them elsewhere I can, and also I can make them both the same size, bigger at the same time, smaller, etc. But I still have the ability to go in and adjust the colors if it's not that orange that I want. I can adjust what the text says. I can even add a different effect. So currently it's using the lift effect, so it has kind of this haze in the background, but you can change it to the shadow effect, where you can change the offset of the shadow, you can change the direction of the shadow, you can change it to the outline effect and what color that outline is. So there's all kinds of fun things that you can play with. Oh, right, wanted to, let me go back to creating a text box here. Make that smaller. You do have the ability in your design to utilize bullets and numbering. So if you click it once, you'll get a bullet. If you click it twice, you'll get a number, and then if you click it again, it'll remove the bulleting for you. The annoying thing about this is that it is always going to be as far left justified as your longest line. So it won't do, like, if you have everything centered, but your design kind of bows out like this, it won't do the dot directly to the left of the line. All of your dots are going to be up against the left side. The way that you can get around that is to create each line of your design as its own object, so that that way, if one of them is longer, then those bullets are still directly next to the text rather than having a whole lot of space in between, because what that would look like, excuse me, there we go. So if we were to do another line down here, and if we were to go in and add, see how it's creating all this space over here? Let me make this a color we can see better against this background.
I think if you left justify it though, I think it'll fix it.
Well, if you want it all left justified, then yes. But if you want your text to be centered, then it's always going to put the bullet as far to the left as possible, which is really annoying.
Yes.
But like I said, you can just make each line of your bulleted list its own object and then group them together. And then that bullet point will always be just to the left of the text that you're making.
Can you show how to get a group of things together and get them to line up left, right, middle? There's a tool there for that. And I ask because it's so helpful. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm not sure I know what we're referring to.
Oh, shoot, yeah. Canva's weird because I'm still learning it,
Uh-huh.
you know, so it's like there's a way to grab your multiple objects when you have them.
Uh-huh.
And I think if you right-click it, that's what it is.
Well, I know that you can click and drag and select multiple objects at once, and then you have the ability to group them.
There's the align right there. Two more.
Align elements?
Yes.
Ah.
So I wasn't sure if that helped with the bullety thing, but yeah.
No, it just moves the objects themselves.
Even with bullets, well, they can bullet select. You do that, so.
So it won't actually change anything about where the bullets are. It will just change where the text box is, either to the left, to the right, or centered. But it's a good try. And like I said, most of what I've learned is from being like, this is what I needed to do. How can I make it do that? And searching for it. Okay. So let's see here. So we have our text box here, and we saw how we can change the color, just like we were changing colors with the graphics. You can also change your font. So you can see the fonts that are available, and you can also search for fonts. There are some categories that you can search for, such as you can search for elegant results, and it'll show you elegant. It's not always going to find, bless you, it's not always going to find for every category that you ask for, but you can search for a specific font if there's one that you're looking for. So for instance, if I wanted this to be papyrus, that's one of the options, so I could change that, and it's going to change my text, and then I can work with it from there. Any questions about image editing, adding text, using layers before we move on to looking at the content planner? Everybody got real excited when I said content planners. This is what everybody was here for. All right. So I'm going to go back to my home, and this is another interesting thing about Canva, is that rather than just refreshing the page that you're on when you go to create a new design, look at a design that you've already done, etc., it's going to open it in a new tab, so you can have multiple projects open at the same time. Which one cool thing about that is that you have the ability to copy and paste elements from one design to another. So if I was working on multiple designs where I wanted my life activation wand, rather than having to put it in, remove the background, all of that all over again, I could simply copy from here, open the next tab, paste, and it'll put that in exactly as it is into that next project. So that's a really helpful thing. But coming back over here to our home, if we come down to more, our option down here is Content Planner. And so this is where you are able to schedule your posts, not necessarily to every social media platform that you may have, but there's quite a few that are available. You can see that I've scheduled some posts here, but excuse me, the first thing that you have to do is you have to make sure that your social media accounts are connected. So you do that up here under calendar options, and you can connect social account here. So you can see the different options that are available to you, which is quite a bit. So you can post directly to your Instagram business page, to a Facebook page, X, Pinterest, to your LinkedIn profile or a LinkedIn page. So you can do both of those, as well as Tumblr. And it's just as simple as selecting which one you're doing and then logging into that thing. So you do need to know your login credentials for whatever that particular social media is. But then you will establish your connection to it, and you'll be able to post directly from Canva to that particular channel. So let's say that tomorrow I want this life activation benefits post to post out to some of my channels. I'm going to click this plus button here, and the first thing it's going to do is it's going to have me select which of my projects I'm wanting to schedule. It will only go back so far with your most recent posts. That's not what I wanted. Let's try that again. Getting a little ahead of myself. But you can select the folder here for your projects and then type in the name of your design and find whatever it is you're looking for. So if I was looking for life activation, it's going to give me everything that has life activation in that title, but I would be able to find what I'm looking for simply by scrolling down and selecting it, but it's already right here. So currently it has selected this time on the day that I put that I wanted it to post. That may not be the time that I actually want it to go out. I may want it to go out earlier or later, or I may have selected the wrong day on my calendar. So if I click the date and time here, I have the ability to adjust the day that I want it to post. And down at the bottom, I have the ability to change the time and also the time zone if necessary. So if I wanted this to go out at 11 a.m. instead of 9:12, I can simply put in that information and click done. And now we can see that Canva says this will go out Thursday at 11 o'clock. I have all of these different social media channels. I still have the Logan Light Center ones, but then I have my own as well. So let's say I wanted this to go to my Gateway Healing Instagram page. I just select that as my channel, and then I have the ability, if I want to write a caption. It does not require a caption, but it's a good idea to put caption if you don't have everything in your post. And you can see the character limit based on the social media platform that you're posting to. So Facebook allows more than Instagram does. LinkedIn offers a different character limit to your posts, etc. So it will tell you if you have exceeded your character limit and will not allow you to schedule the post because it won't successfully post anyway. You have the ability to either go ahead and schedule that, or you can save it as a draft if you need to go and find some information, come back later. If we do save it as a draft, you'll see that it appears on your calendar, but it's kind of blurred, muted a little bit, and it has the pencil icon. So that's letting you know you've started scheduling this, but it's not actually scheduled yet. So when you're ready, you can come back and click it, make whatever adjustments you need to, and then when you're ready, you can click Save and Schedule. And once that happens, it appears just like this, and you can hover over it to find out what time you have scheduled that. Now let's say that I wanted this same post to go out to multiple channels. Canva will only allow you to post or to schedule one post at a time, but there's an easy way to do it. So if I open this, it's going to show me all the information about the current posting, and I could adjust if necessary. But if I click these three dots over here, I can make a copy. And it's going to give me all of the same everything. The caption will still be there. The time will be 1 minute different. It puts it like 1 minute later, so it's currently 11:01. I could change that if I wanted it to be right at 11. But then all I have to do is select a different channel, The caption will still be there. I can save and schedule. And now it's going to go to both of my Instagrams. Then I can open again, make a copy, choose one of my Facebooks, save and schedule, and I can just repeat that 10-second process as many times as needed to get it to my LinkedIn, to my Facebook, to my Instagram, whatever the case may be.
And Jonathan, what if it's like Facebook groups?
It will not post to anything except for your Facebook page. Once it's posted to your page, you can then share it to those groups.
Does it have to be a business page, do you know?
For Instagram, yes. For Facebook, I don't believe so.
And can you have multiple Instagram accounts?
Yep, because if we look at my channels, if I go to, I gotta make a copy here.
And does it resize them for the appropriate channel? I know there's like, no, okay.
Nope, whatever size you created it, that's what it's gonna post. So for instance, when I was doing this, I was using a different graphic to kind of test something, and I was using a flyer that was 8.5 by 11, and I selected Instagram, and Canva was like, nope, this is too big, it's not gonna fit on Instagram, you can't post it. But there is the magic resize tool that I didn't really have time to get into, that you can quickly adjust your design to be a different size and then make the modifications needed to expand or contract if Canva didn't get all of the proportions right. So if you do design something and you really like it and you post it to Facebook but it can't go to Instagram, you can use the magic resize in order to change it to an Instagram post. Then you have all of the elements and you might just have to adjust them to fit better within that new size. But here you can see in my channels, I have 2 different Logan Light Center Facebooks, 2 different Logan Light Center Instagrams, and a LinkedIn for the owner. I also have my 2 LinkedIn pages, my 2 Facebooks, my 2 Instagrams. So you can put multiple Instagrams, multiple Facebooks, LinkedIn, Pinterest, etc. Now, I don't actually want these to go out on my social media because this is not a completed project. So I can come here to these 3 dots and delete the post. And I can do that for each one of them.
I wonder what happens when you click the copy and magic resize on there. Does it just take you to a new graphic?
Let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we did copy and magic resize, and let's say that we want to turn this into a Facebook cover landscape, because that's very different. So yeah, it takes you to the project where you can then make the adjustments necessary, and then you can go back and schedule it.
Yeah, I see the button.
So, and how did you originally get to the content planner from the?
So from the, let me delete this real quick, because I will forget, and it will go out on my social, and I'll be really embarrassed. So when you're on your home page and you see home, projects, templates, etc., if you hover over the 3 dots, the content planner will be listed here. It's not there now because we're already here.
Yeah.
But this is where you would find it in order to start the process of connecting your socials or scheduling your content, etc. That copy and then changing the schedule of a different one was a huge time saver when I originally found it, because I was going in and manually doing the plus, select the thing, copy the caption, change the time. And so when I found that copy thing, I was like, oh, this is saving me a good chunk of time every time that I want to post something.
Jonathan, can you show again where you do the integrations with the like LinkedIn and
Yeah.
Facebook?
So once you're on the content planner, up here is the 3 dots, and you go to connect social account. And then you just select which one it is that you're wanting to do, and it will take you to a page to log in. And then once that connection is established, you can just select it from your channel dropdown. Yes?
I'm just curious if you tracked any sort of engagement changes. Because obviously there's the convenience and ease, which I'm sure most business owners want, but
Yeah.
do you notice a difference versus like
I have
native
not.
posting? You don't?
No, because before I started my business, when I was working with my friend Charlie, he said, somebody told me that your posts don't get as much engagement if you post them from a third party, so let's try doing it directly from Meta. Like, let's use the Meta planner and everything. And I was like, okay, and it was a pain in the butt comparatively, because I had to create it, I had to download it, I had to upload it to Meta, do all of the things, and I saw zero change in our engagement. So if you're a massive business with a lot of following, maybe. For a small business with a small following, I haven't seen any difference.
And ultimately, the consistency of posting is more important. That like if this is going to make you more consistent,
right?
That'll drive engagement.
Yep. And that's the great thing is I could create 5, 6, or 7 posts, and then within 30 minutes I could have them scheduled for each day of the week, all at the same time, and not have to worry about it. And I could even do a month, 2 months out. So this can really save you a lot of time versus like, oh, it's 9 o'clock in the morning, I need to remember to log into Facebook and post this thing. Like the only thing you have to do is remind yourself, like Maite was saying, to go in and share it to some groups, if that's what you're gonna do, because that's something that Canva is not currently available for. Also, Canva will not allow you to send videos to Instagram. Instagram won't accept a reel from a third party currently. So you can create a video in Canva and post it to LinkedIn, post it to Facebook, but Instagram will not accept your reel. Also, in my experience, there may be something that I haven't set up correctly, but in my experience, I have Instagram set up so that when I post something to my Gateway Healing Instagram, it will automatically post it to Facebook. That does not happen when I post from Canva, which is why I have to also select it to post to Facebook, because it will not do that automatic posting from Instagram to Facebook. So I just need to take the extra 10 seconds, 15 seconds, whatever, to copy the Instagram, change the channel to Facebook, set that to go out at the same time. There are times when there may be an issue with either Canva or the social media platform and your post does not go out as scheduled. Generally speaking, Canva will send you an email that lets you know there was a problem with your post. And when you come here to the content planner, whatever item did not post correctly is highlighted in red to make it very obvious this one did not go. And really all you have to do at that point is select the item, change either the date, the time, or both, and then reschedule it. And most of the time, that second time it goes. There's usually just some kind of hiccup on one side or the other. Any other questions? Okay, so let's wrap up. So the best way to learn is to do. That's how I did it. Everything that I just showed you, I learned by going, how the hell do I make this work? And figuring it out. The best teacher is failure. So if you're starting to use it and every design you make is bad, keep doing it. That's the only way you get better. Liz knows from the artist standpoint, nobody starts out being amazing. You have to work at it and practice. Play around and have fun. One of the biggest things I think that one of the biggest mistakes I think that we can make as business owners is to feel like our content has to be super serious, super stuffy, all that kind of stuff, when really and truly people want to know who you are. So your personality needs to come out in what you're doing. So have fun with what you're doing. And talk to me about getting a life activation. Maite can tell you it's a cool thing.
It is. Very cool.
So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Jonathan@gatewayhealingfl.com. I'm always happy to jump on a Zoom call, meet for coffee, whatever the case may be. If somebody's like, I'm trying to get it to do this thing, I don't know how to do it, I have no problem meeting up with people to be like, let's tinker around and find out and go from there.
Yeah, Jonathan was super helpful because I don't know if you saw or see any of his posts, but he has all of his events. And so that's how mine look now, because I thought it was just a great design to put all of your events. If you have a lot going on in a month, you can all, just lay them all out like that. It's really good.
So smart. Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Affirmations? Great job.
Very helpful.
Great.
Yes. I learned a lot. Thank you very much, Jonathan.
Absolutely.